imagine that you run a company and you look forward to expand your languages because you want to cover some new even continents. So you definitely need to add more languages because not everywhere English is used.
Hello and welcome to the Multilingual Content Podcast, where experts discuss international content management, product localization, and global expansion. I'm Katerina from Anderto, and today our founder Nicola Calabrese will be talking to Andriy Poznakhovskyy, Head of Customer Growth at Crowdin, a leading translation management system. Andriy has been with Crowdin over 10 years, seeing translation management system evolve from basic Excel replacement to the advanced automated tools that we use today. In our conversation, Andriy will share his insights on how TMS can help B2B SaaS companies scale their content across multiple regions, ensure consistency, and leverage AI and automation. We are excited to dive into the role of TMS in modern localization strategies and explore the current trends and future directions of this transformative technology. Let's welcome Andriy to the show.
Hello, Andriy, and welcome to the Multilingual Content Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, Nicola. How are you?
Good. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. It's translation management systems. It's one of those tools that is very crucial in localization, but sometimes maybe it's a bit underestimated, in my opinion, like the role that it plays. Before we jump right into that, would you mind telling us a bit about yourself and your role at Crowdin?
Sure. Yes, so I joined Crowdin back in 2013. So it's been, it will be my 12th year at Crowdin this year. I had a great chance to see all its evolution. When I joined Crowdin, it was quite simple tool because back then no one expected these automations, anything that basically any TMS can do nowadays. Back then people just search for replacement for Excel spreadsheet or Notepad, translations in Notepad. That was main goal that people wanted to solve. Nowadays it's very different. And before Crowdin, I did not work that much in localization area, but I worked as volunteer translator for many years before that. That was my passion. So then when I found Crowdin in my city, I was very pleased to work there. And nowadays I work as head of customer growth at the platform. My main task is to help clients to build better workflows. So together we decide how to proceed with different functionality, what connectors and automations to use. And I keep up, I provide some further support to clients, and I interact often with support team. So that's my current job.
Let's start from the very beginning. So Crowdin is a translation management system. So let's start from that. What is exactly a translation management system, and how does it help B2B SaaS companies scale efficiently across multiple regions?
Yes, imagine that you run a company and you look forward to expand your languages because you want to cover some new even continents. So you definitely need to add more languages because not everywhere English is used. And people simply love to see any product in their native language rather than, even if they know English perfectly, they will still be more pleased to see a product in their language. That's where you start looking for some solutions. And if your product is very small, probably at least at first stages, especially if you have one or two languages, you can work with some agency, you can send them texts. Usually they will ask you to generate files in some Excel format or something like that. So it's not convenient, but you can live with that. But when you expand further, when languages number increases, when you start thinking about quality, that's when TMS comes in place. So you can upload all of your content, set up processes, so everything you will forget about sending files to someone, in short. And also TMS will help you to track quality, generate reports about quality, about in total how many words, how much you need to pay. So this kind of reports. So with TMS, you just have a single place where you do everything related to localization, and it simplifies your life because I think it's every company that starts looking for TMS, they just got bored with these Excel spreadsheets and manual sending to vendors. They want to have better solution. Yeah, that's where TMS works best.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The fact that you have a place where you're storing and managing all the translation of strings, marketing content, support content is all in one place. Obviously, that makes things easier and, let's say, less difficult to manage. It's also like less overhead as well. And in particular, would you mind like expanding a little bit on like how a translation management system can help ensure consistency across different parts of the company? So like product, marketing, customer support, materials.
Yes, for consistency, first of all, I think if TMS doesn't have this functionality, it's not a TMS, it's translation memory. Any system learns on, it remembers your previous translations, and of course, you will definitely upload some repeated sentences, especially if you translate some marketing materials, knowledge base articles. It's even applicable sometimes to UI strings. You will have a repeated content. It's something I hate when I'm looking into localized apps and I see that in this place, this button is named this way, but it's completely different in this way. And you try to follow some instructions and it tells you, click on this button, but you go there and there is no such button because it's named differently. So translation memory, glossary is very must have a tool that helps you to track consistency of translations across all of your projects. Nowadays, AI is everywhere, you know that. So AI can also help you to track consistency. So nowadays there is also AI proofreader tool available. So it can also validate your texts and tell you whether they match with your TM or not, or glossary. And finally, it's just small tool that we have at Crowdin. It helps you to find all these inconsistencies because, of course, you can do some custom script to find where some word is translated in 2-3 different ways. But we provide some tools for that, some add-ons that you can attach to Crowdin, so you can also find some inconsistencies within per clicks. So yes, that's how it helps.
Yeah, I mean, why build it if you already have it built it for you, right? So
yes.
So I agree. And having, as you said, like the translation memory is like a database of everything that you translated before that you can leverage again, and glossaries that you can share across different departments and divisions. That definitely helps. And for example, when you have updates or let's say small changes to content that you already translated, or let's say your app is constantly being updated, what role does it play in a translation management system in those cases, like with updates that are not maybe big in volume, but they need a quick turnaround time?
Yes, the more content you have, the more difficult it becomes to handle it. You can, of course, if you have just one application and one file, you can even 3 times a day, you can easily update the file manually and you will be sure that yes, Crowdin or any different TMS has my latest content for translation. But imagine that you have 50 projects and lots of files. Let's say Zendesk Guide, you can have hundreds of articles there, and you simply cannot be sure that you synchronized everything. So that's where connectors come in place. They also make life of all clients easier. So I think it's also something that basically any TMS should offer, at least for most popular connectors. You need to provide something to clients. Otherwise, yes, I don't think that it will be productive. So with these connectors, nowadays, as I mentioned in the beginning, it dramatically changed. Back earlier, people just looked to replace a notepad for translation, but now people are looking to automate everything. So with this app, and also it will be important to have some reliable vendor as well. So you can connect. I've seen many cases that it also becomes somehow popular that clients work with several vendors at a time. They don't fully rely on all vendors, on single vendor for all languages, but sometimes use even 3 or even 4 vendors to cover different sets of languages. So vendors have some agreements with the client, and vendors get notifications in time. So TMS will also make sure that people will get enough notifications to be aware that there is something new to translate. And yes, this combo, I think mainly it's this combo of connectors plus reliable vendors, they give you a success. But still, it's at the same time, I can say it's quite individual things. Every client may want it to work differently. So yes, DMS should be flexible enough to provide freedom to the client, because some clients are very technical, so they can build like 50 integrations on top of TMS, some API connectors that will be checking almost every second what is happening there. But some clients just want to put few checkboxes and they will be happy. So yes, this flexibility is also something that TMS should offer.
Yeah, I actually worked in the past with the system that you mentioned, like moving files around and updates by sending files, getting back files. And yeah, with a translation management system, it's completely different. I agree. But on the other hand, the risk, as you were saying, you run the risk that every little update that you get, it triggers a notification. And then once it's done, you get another update. So maybe throughout the day, you might get several updates to do. So it does make sense to find an agreement. I agree on maybe a cycle of updates that might be every 24 hours, it might be every week, depending on how many updates. And this kind of things, absolutely. I mean, the technology is amazing because it gives us a lot of choices, but then humans have to agree how to use it and how to get together, like what works for both parties, because otherwise it's like, yeah, as you said, it becomes a lot of overhead. Rather than reducing overhead, it increases it. So absolutely. So connectors, just to clarify as well, it means that the translation management system like Crowdin can connect to, for example, code repositories like GitHub, can connect to CMS content management systems like, let's say, WordPress or Contentful, and also like to email marketing platform like Customer.io or to Help Center, for example, like Zendesk or Intercom. And that obviously makes things easier to keep updated all the time, like synchronized. As you said, automatically, you can set it. It's quite useful compared to having to extract content, send it over, get it back. And when it goes, let's say, collaboration side of things between teams, especially, as I was saying before as well, like avoiding that teams work in silos. So your product team actually is aligned with the marketing team, how they're approaching things, how they're calling things, and how a translation management system can help with that.
Yes, it's also a bit related to TM, first of all, because translation memory can be shared across projects. So people will know, people from one team won't guess how exactly another team translate what style, tone of voice they are using. So shared translation memory will make sense. Same for glossaries, that it can be also shared. Within Crowdin, we provide some collaboration tools, like people can comment any string. So if translator or manager has any questions, they can always leave a comment, mention someone. You can also have your developers involved. So yeah, of course, it depends on the project type. So if it's something that you are translating from GitHub, it's your UI strings for your app, then yes, usually developers are involved so they can answer some questions. So DMS should be supplied with some collaboration tools that allow you to keep people connected. In Crowdin, we have built-in messaging systems, so you can also create some conversations. It will be similar to Messenger, I guess. Yeah, for me, it looks like something like that. But yeah, I find most interesting is these collaboration tools, because there are many ways how can you interact with the string and let other people know in other languages, in other teams, that this string means this, and also all other people will see your conversations because comments are public. So these collaboration tools also make people connected so they don't work separately. At the same time, if needed, in our TMS, we allow you to also work separately. So you can isolate your TMs, glossaries. So I can say it's not that popular approach, but some teams prefer to work separately. They don't want to use anything from other teams. They just want to have some environment where they do translations. So that's also possible, but I think companies should keep some same style across all departments. And yeah, that's where this sharing of resources becomes very required and helpful.
And I like what you mentioned about the commenting on the strings. So the question can be asked in a place where whoever needs to answer sees right away, like, what are you talking about? What strings are you referring to? If there's let's say in the case of the UI, there might be even a screenshot attached so they can see the context. and he helps whoever gets it. It's easier communication. You don't have to look around for other things and information to understand what exactly the person is asking about. So that's quite useful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this indeed, it's something that I did not mention, but context, it's also actually something, if you care about quality, the more context you provide, the more quality you will get. And it does not depend who will do translations, whether it will be AI or human translators. You need to have context. Yeah, that's also a very good point.
I like the auto tag feature that you upload the screenshot and he automatically tags, it connects it to the strings that are relevant. So I really like that in Crowdin. Yeah. And when we look at, for example, on the, let's say, cost side of things, the budgeting, how does using a TMS affect the cost over time and how it can maybe help save some money in the long term?
I think not depending on what TMS you choose, your decision, you already save time. So yeah, it will be, the time that you save, it cannot be even compared with any amount of money. Of course, yes, if TMS requires you to pay $1 million per month, then yes, probably there is something, probably there are other better options. But in any case, yes, with TMS, you save a lot of time, efforts, because you can monitor everything in the single place. So probably to save something, you need to use it wise. So not upload everything that you have at the same time, because then you won't even know what you need to translate, what you don't need to translate. So you just need to build, before using any TMS, you should build some plan. What you want to translate, how it will be translated. Of course, TMS support will help you to build some plan, but at least, yes, this important part of content selection will be on you, because yes, you need to decide what languages at least you plan to cover, how many people will be involved from your side. That's also something that I know. First of all, in larger enterprises, they need to build some plans for several months ahead. So you need to consult with your team. They need to be aware that soon you plan to transition to a TMS. So people will forget about this self-developed solution because it never works. At some point, it doesn't matter how good your self-developed translation tool is within the company. You will definitely start looking for TMS one day. So people can, at least, if not immediately, they can just connect with TMS representatives and discuss, just check available features and compare it with what they have currently. And then I think they will clearly see all advantages of TMS, and I think it will never feel that it's too expensive.
No, I think first of all, if somebody wants to develop a system that replicates everything, the translation management system, unless they are in the business of creating a translation management system, that's definitely not the core business. So when you mentioned time, I agree, time of developers that is taken away from maybe the core business of developing what needs to be developed, let's say, for the company. And on the other hand, where you're usually involved, creating the workflows and the processing around that. So things are automated and speed up, especially the admin side of things, what I mentioned before, it used to be. I hope nobody still do that, moving files around, sending email for every single thing that needs to happen. You have some stuff that is automated because transactional. You have some strings to translate, or this file, this asset that needs to be localized for marketing. You don't need a lot of emails about that. And you can focus communication on the more important stuff. And then the last thing I think as well, which is not less important, is the quality, because the translation memories, they can allow to reuse the glossaries that keeps you consistent across different divisions and products and different kind of content. That's quite, when you start summing everything up, it's quite a lot. Even if you try to put a dollar value to that, a euro value to that, it's quite a lot, to be honest. And it's one of those things that when you try and start using it, you realize you've been missing it all along. If you were working with spreadsheets, I don't advise working with spreadsheets in general, even if it's you have a couple of languages. I would recommend looking into something some kind of transition management system, because you're going to need it anyway for updates and stuff like that. It's better to start early so you don't have to do a migration.
The more you take time to switch, then more it will be painful to make this switch, because you will see, I need to import these 500 sheets to Crowdin to generate some TM.
And you have a lot of people to put up to date. So that's, And the last thing that I wanted to ask you about is like, what are the current trends that you see in translation management systems, and how do you see them evolve in the future? You mentioned AI, so I'm sure that's going to be one of them, but
Yes, definitely. AI became, I think it's even too trendy, I would say. So it feels like at some point that people simply forgot about everything else, but we constantly discuss something related to AI with clients, because AI is not only about translation. We also plan to, actually we already have some success in this area. We plan to use AI to allow users to operate projects, like create new translation tasks, remind you about some missed jobs and so on. So that it's helpful, but I hope that there will be also some other great things that will become trendy. Definitely quality. I feel that during last 2 years, it feels like people started looking more towards good quality translations, because earlier everyone just wanted to make everything translated as soon as possible, deliver translations, and that's it. Nowadays, yes, there are so many tools that allow you to extract all these context screenshots. So why should you not use this chance to increase the quality? And yes, connectors, in general, automation, not only connectors, but automation in general, it becomes like a must for any TMS. So you have to stay in the market, you have to look for any popular apps that everyone is using, ideally these apps, because if this popular app won't have API, of course, how can you have a connector with them? So you have to connect with these other tools, probably discuss something. There are some discussions about possibility to integrate with them. So connectors, AI, probably cost saving, because nowadays, but it also touches a bit AI topic, because nowadays you can save quite a lot using AI translation. If you provide enough context, it can produce not that bad translations. So then you will just spend something on proofreading and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Not sure even if there is anything else. Yeah,
but I think at the moment, everything is AI. So
and automation,
AI and automation. Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, but I do agree. Like integration are crucial. They make a big difference. Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to. I need to wrap up now. I want to be sensible about the time we have. But it was really great to speak with you today about the translation management system. How can I help? It was really nice having you.
Thanks for joining us today. The Multilingual Content Podcast is powered by Andriy. We help companies translate their content into results. Get in touch if you want to know more. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episode. See you next time.